The wrong time.
Oh, man.
Good morning and welcome to the Sports Debate Podcast. I am BA along here with James J. Trey Martin and, of course, Jack Hirsch. Hope you gentlemen are having a lovely morning. LeBron has finally made his decision. Oh, my God. It's like we were sitting on the edge. I don't know. Wasn't definitely sitting on the edge, but there was a lot of people that are sitting on the edge to see where he would go. He went to the Philadelphia 76ers. And that goes right into our first debate question for today. Now that LeBron has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, have they surpassed the Knicks as the favorites in the NBA's Eastern Conference? And I'm going to give that one to Jack.
Yeah, heck yes, they have. And I hate the term, someone's a champion until you knock them off their perch, that they're favored and so on. You have to beat the champion. I don't want to hear this nonsense. This same group of Knicks players, for the most part, have been together for more than one season. It kind of reminds me of the Denver Nuggets when they won the NBA championship a few years ago. All of a sudden, they're favored the next year. But what did they do the year before that and the years after that? For the most part in the NBA, it's one and done. And why should the Knicks have been favored in the East altogether? I mean, the 76ers made two impact moves when you think of it. They got Jaylen Brown and LeBron James. Are you kidding me? And the people are picking the Knicks. They have the same stale line. Well, Embiid can't stay healthy. Well, Embiid hasn't been motivated to stay healthy in part. Okay? Embiid would go into every season knowing that the Philadelphia 76ers had no more than a slim chance of going to the NBA Finals. Now the Sixers have a great chance of going there. Embiid is going to be motivated. Jaylen Brown is a great player. If I want to compare the two Jaylens, I could tell you unhesitatingly, Jaylen Brown is nearly as good as Jalen Brunson. Tell me Brunson's better, and I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue that point. That's fine. But Jaylen Brown is nearly as good. And you add LeBron James on top of that, I mean, that exceeds that. Joel Embiid is better than Karl Anthony Towns. Joel Embiid's one of the best players in the game when he's healthy. Karl Anthony Towns is a wonderful player, but no one is saying he's one of the best players in the NBA. Anunoby, that Pippen was legendary to win that game. But you're not going to tell me he's better than Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey is potentially a breakout star. Potentially a breakout star. And BJ Edcombe is coming along. They've got in a couple of chips for their bench in addition, Simmons and Wade, etc. And the Sixers are prime. They're ready. And LeBron is going to bring to them a winning attitude. And you might say, well, only 4 championships in 20 plus years. How much a win is he? He's a winner. He's been to the finals, 10 years. He's willed his teams beyond what was expected, like especially his first time around with the Cavaliers. those teams shouldn't have gotten to the finals. He pushed them further than anyone else could have. I mean, this is an absolute game changer. LeBron said beforehand, well, winning a championship won't be his primary reason. I mean, it was the primary reason. If LeBron was going to have fun, just to enjoy basketball where he lived, he'd go to Golden State. He'd get along great with the guys, with a coach like Steve Kerr, with Steph Curry, Draymond. They'd be fine. He wants to win badly, LeBron. And this is it. This gives him a great chance with this Sixers team. Yeah, they should be favored over the Knicks. I mean, what the Knicks did last year, they're not going to quite do again. Don't misunderstand me. They could potentially win another championship. I don't mean it that way. That magical run, the tip in, coming from behind against the Cavaliers, Sixers, San Antonio in those games, that's like a once in a lifetime thing. The way they won. And let's not forget, and especially Brian is going to notice, everything bounced right for the Knicks. They didn't have to meet a prime Detroit Piston team. All year long, we thought the Pistons had the Knicks number, and the Knicks dreaded the idea of meeting the Pistons in the playoffs. But then all of a sudden, the Pistons lost their mojo. They went flat. They became a mediocre team. It's as if the Pistons aged overnight, even though age had nothing to do with it. And the Knicks had the right matchups, and they responded like champions, the Knicks, and they are the champions. But the Sixers have a team of all-stars when they take the court this year. They have a team of all-stars. The Knicks don't have a team of all-stars. Knicks have great chemistry, but if the Sixers develop the chemistry, and I think they will under LeBron, they're favorites definitely to come out of the East.
Okay, so just off a show last night, I made a strong prediction saying that the Philadelphia 76ers will be the NBA champions in 2027. I call that. I'm going to stick with that. But that being said, for the sake of this being a debate show, I'm going to make an argument for the New York Knicks as being still the better team. I broke down the lineups against each other like you did yourself. I mean, if I had to compare, we're talking apples to apples. We're talking Tyrese Maxey at the 1 versus Jalen Brunson. I'm going to give the nod to Jalen Brunson. If I go VJ Edgecombe, third place rookie of the year last year, 16 points per game, coming into his own versus Josh Hart. I'm going to lean more to Edgecombe in that regard. Even though Josh Hart is a great 3-and-D player at that, but he's not consistent with his shooting, but he's excellent on a defensive standpoint. Jaylen Brown, as you mentioned, at the 3, I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown versus Mikal Bridges. And LeBron James versus Anunoby, that's kind of tough. I'm just going to be honest with you. LeBron James and Anunoby, one's better defensively at this stage of his career. I would say Anunoby's got the nod in that regard. And as a playmaker, LeBron James is going to probably be the better player there. So I don't know. I'll have to break that off in half a little bit. But ultimately, LeBron James is the better basketball IQ player, and ultimately a field general. So he's going to be, to give
LeBron a little edge. To give him a little edge.
Give him a little edge.
Okay.
Right, exactly. In that. Joel Embiid versus Karl Anthony Towns. If Joel Embiid was 2022-23 MVP Joel Embiid, where he give you 66 games and 33 points a game, I'd go his direction. But because he's 32 now and the health, the past 2 years, he's played a total of 59 games, I'm going to give Karl Anthony Towns that edge.
I don't want to hear that, James. Assuming they're healthy. If players can't play, that changes things. Assuming, and you can't assume anything, I get that. But
right.
If all players are healthy, don't tell me Karl Anthony Towns is better than Joel Embiid.
Jack, you must have an alcoholic problem because you do ifs, and because if ifs were fifths, you drink a lot of that Kool-Aid, man.
Everything is an if.
We can't go off that. We can't go off that.
But
You got to go off with the. You got to go off with somebody. If somebody,
who is
if somebody tells you who they are, you better damn well believe them, because I mean, the past couple of years he's just been bad. I mean, health wise. I'm not saying like when he played the playoffs this year. If he can give them I'll give you this. If he gives you 40 games and he can give you the playoffs, I'll give you those ifs. I would take him over Karl Anthony Towns. All right, that's an if. I'll give you that. But if he can't give you that and he's not healthy, man, I'm just going to go with Karl Anthony Towns. It's no slouch because it's a slight edge.
Yeah.
It's a slight edge. So I would have to give the health nod to Karl Anthony Towns because he's available. But the biggest question now, this is where I have to give the Knicks a little bit more favor, is because of their bench. It's because of the bench. The Knicks, I mean, the 76ers lost a lot in their bench. They got Dean Wade. Dean Wade, they got him in a trade. Dean Wade is going to be good on the defensive perimeter as a big forward, so he'll be out there defensively, but he averaged about 5.5 points a game. So he's not giving you much on the offensive end, but he's good on defense, which is what they'll need because LeBron, that'll pretty much, those are the same player essentially, you know, in that regard. He'll give LeBron some relief once he's, take him, and once he goes to the bench, he gives a good defense. But LeBaron Philon Jr., the kid, the guard that was a rookie last year, a rookie this year, excuse me. We don't know, out of Alabama. So we don't know what he's going to give you. We don't know what he's going to give you, but hopefully he's somebody that can relieve one of the guards here, Tyrese Maxey or VJ Edgecombe. But it's an if. I don't know. Jabari Walker, Justin Edwards, Dalen Terry, Adeem Bona, the center, which they need a backup center. And then, of course, they got the guy from New York, I believe, Ariel Hukporti. He was the third. Yeah, he was the third center there. Because New York lost Mitchell. They have from Philadelphia, Andre Drummond. Now, but the other four guys are great off the bench. Good morning, Rick. Landry Shamet, Miles Bridges, Jordan Clarkson, Jose Alvarado. Those guys were excellent this year off the bench. So you already know what they're giving you, and they can spell any of these other guys in a minute and any one of them could drop 20, 30 points if they need to. So I'm going to give the edge of the bench to New York. And for those purposes, what we don't know what old LeBron and often injured Joel Embiid will give you throughout the regular season. So I will give a slight edge to the champ. Like Ric Flair, I'm going to give a quote out here. Ric Flair always said, you know it, B, right? Woo! No, he said that, but he said to be the man, you got to beat the man. And Jack, you should know that too, because you love wrestling. So yeah, the man
I commented on that. That's a stale line. No one repeats. I could start my own line. No one repeats. That's why every year in the NBA there's a new champion. There's always a changing of the guard. Okay.
It's been now, yes, but I mean it's rare. It's rare.
Enjoy this one championship, Knicks fans. It's great. Let it last a lot of years. Okay, a lot of years.
Wow,
because it's something to celebrate. I mean, maybe they'll get another one at some point. Championships are hard to come by. I don't have.
You're right.
Actually, you two should know that from the cities and the fans, the teams that you two are of. The championships are hard to come by.
I mean, but you talk out of both sides of your neck. What did you just tell me about San Antonio not too long ago? What did you say they were going to do?
Well, I think
that.
What? I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, explain.
Come on, you said Wemby and San Antonio are going to be winning championships, multiple championships once they get in running.
Oh, once they get running. No. Teams can occasionally go on a big roll. Occasionally, like the Dodgers, they've won back-to-back, and they're favored to repeat this year. They're going to.
You don't think the Knicks can do that?
Deadline, but in fact, it doesn't happen in the NBA except if you get a generational talent like Wemby, and the Spurs are on an upswing. And once the Spurs, if they win it next year, and I think they will. They're going to be awfully hard to beat the year after that. And if Wemby is healthy and they can keep their core, I could see them winning 3 titles in 4 years very easily.
I could see that.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see a back-to-back with New York as well. I'm not saying that they didn't have a generational talent, but this lineup is what I'm saying. The fact that they consistently kept almost all their same lineup, just like OKC did, but OKC lost one of their guys to health. And that's unfortunately the unfortunate part about it. But if OKC would have kept their guys, who knows if they don't get to another championship and beat New York this year. But that's an if.
Been healthy, maybe they beat San Antonio this season. They would have had a reasonable chance. And I feel they would have beaten the Knicks in the finals, and they would have had back-to-back, and that would have been their legacy there. But it didn't happen.
But again, I just going back for the sake of argument, I'm not going to sway on what I said last night. I still think Philadelphia is going to win the championship this year, this season coming up. But I wanted to make an argument for New York, and I think the biggest question marks if I had to look at something that would stall the championship aspirations of Philadelphia, it would be the health of Joel Embiid and potentially the ineptitude of their bench versus New York and what they have right now, and their defense. New York's defense is. Let's not get it twisted. Regardless of who they didn't meet up, they showed up for every series that they were there, and they didn't just show up; they dominated, including the San Antonio Spurs. So, I don't know what to tell you with that in that regard. They look like they could repeat to me.
There's an extra credit question here. If LeBron James ends without a championship, what is his next chess move? He's got a 2-year contract, so we assume that he's going to stay on Philadelphia.
Well, I guess she's saying if he loses them both, then the chess move is checkmate. He's done. Because he'll be 45 at that time. So that's it.
All righty. I think the Eastern Conference Finals is going to come down to those two, though. I think the Knicks and 76ers, I think they'll meet for that. It's going to be a good series, too.
I bet. I agree.
Either way, I think it's going to go 7 games. I think whoever wins that will go to the championship, obviously. Because of the 76ers bench, I don't see them winning the championship because I think the West has better depth at OKC and San Antonio. I think they both have better depth in the bench. That's the only reason why I think that they would not win a championship. But I still think they're going to be in it, though. Anyway. All right. On to football. Of course, Diego Pavea was on the Baltimore Ravens. They gave him a chance to be on there, but I kind of figured that wasn't going to last too long. And they did kick him to the curb. Not as cruel as I'm making it sound. If given the opportunity, can Diego Pavea be serviceable NFL quarterback? Go ahead, James.
No, and capital no exclamation point. There is no way. Why? People might think, oh, he's got a bad attitude. He said all this stuff, F the media and all this other kind of stuff when he didn't win the Heisman. That has nothing to do with anything. It's not the attitude at all. It has everything to do with the lack of talent and the height. It has everything to do with that, plus the attitude. So you tell me you don't go, you win 10 games, 10-3 was his record at Vanderbilt. He did a historic run with Vanderbilt with that team and brought them to prominence. But it wasn't just him. It was the coach. He had a great team around him. Because I know a better quarterback that was there a long time ago. And this is one of the guys I'm going to bring up in regards to guys with behavior that nobody likes or attitude that nobody likes. And that's Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler was the best quarterback at Vanderbilt that I've ever seen play there. And he didn't have a team at all. And you watched him, you knew him. And he was drafted in the first round, mind you, but not because of his attitude. He didn't slip because of his attitude. Because he had attitude. You know, he didn't like the media. He didn't do anything, but he drafted because he had that strong arm. That dude had a super talent, and he was taller. This Diego is on a given day with some heels is probably 5'10". I think he might be a little shorter than that. I think he may be like 5'8", 5'9", for what I understand. Again, another example of a bad guy quarterback, Jeff George. Jeff George, nobody liked that dude. Nobody liked that dude at all. But his talent at the arm strength, with the arm strength, Indianapolis, Atlanta, wherever he played, he was a dog. I mean, he kept an opportunity. He didn't win. I mean, but he kept an opportunity because the talent was always there, but people did not like him. Michael Vick. Say what you will. I mean, Michael Vick got convicted for dogfighting and or conspiracy or whatever it was. He was in sports. I mean, or Leavenworth for 2 years. Got back out. Got a chance with Philadelphia and got another $100 million contract. Why? Because he was an excellent dual threat quarterback with a strong arm. I mean, it was just what it is. And guys who didn't have bad attitudes, but they were short. Let's just say if we're talking about a guy who's short, Drew Brees, prime example, 6 foot at his best, and probably 5'11". Drew Brees stood. If you go look back at some of the tape, he stood on his toes behind the line of scrimmage. People don't know that, but he actually stood on his toes to see above the line, and he threw the ball, and he threw 80,000 yards for that. My point is, Drew Brees was a leader of men, and he was a cerebral quarterback. And he had a moderately strength arm. He wasn't that, his arm strength wasn't that strong. It didn't need to be. He could throw every single throw. Who else? Russell Wilson, another cerebral quarterback, strong arm dual threat. And these two guys I mentioned, they would take it in the second and the third round. So they weren't projected to be starters. Russell Wilson, there was a guy that already had a job there that they brought in from another, I think Green Bay. He was out of LSU. I forgot the guy's name. Matt something. I forgot. But anyway, Flynn. Yeah. And he took his job. That's just how great Russell Wilson was. And ultimately, both these guys I mentioned won a Super Bowl. My prognosis for this kid is ending up either in CFL, which the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are holding his negotiation rights. If you don't know that out there, they drafted him. So he can go there, or he can go to the UFL. And if not, I love his moxie. I love the attitude. The type of thing he has, he's an overachiever. He can be somebody's CEO. He don't have to play football at all. He can go do something else. He went to Vanderbilt. So I'm pretty sure he's not an unintelligent guy. So I'm pretty sure he can do something else other than that. But that's my prognosis. He will not be an NFL quarterback. He won't be serviceable. He won't even be on anybody's practice squad. I think he's going to be somewhere else. In either in Canada, UFL, or doing a whole different line of work.
Yeah, it cracked me up at the CEO. It reminds me of when I took a kinesiology class for my master's degree in college. I did a little exhibit with boxing with the jab, the arm movement, and I'm talking, and the professor, who was a lady, mentioned, I had no idea until she said it, how much she hated boxing, that they should ban it. And I said, well, what will some of these other guys do? And she said, well, they could become businessmen. And the student next to me, who I didn't even know, he whispered in my ear, he said, could you imagine Smoking Joe Frazier with a student tie cutting a business deal? You know, come on. No, Joe was a smart guy who could cut business deals. But I'm just trying to give the example here. I mean, it's got everything to do with his personality. The question is, could he be Pavea, a serviceable NFL quarterback? Teams can carry up to 4 quarterbacks, 3 on the active roster, 1 on the practice squad. Are you going to tell me, with this guy's credentials, I mean, he finished second among all FBS players last year, and he led Vanderbilt to a 10-3 record. I'm reading this, off ESPN, which so I don't miss anything, which marked the first season in school history with double-digit wins. So he led Vanderbilt, which isn't a ticky-tack program. to their best season in school history. And it says after throwing 29 touchdown passes and rushing for 10 more, Pavea was named first team All-American and SEC Offensive Player of the Year and won the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award as the best upperclassman quarterback in college football. Now, I know there are questions about his height, 5'10", this and that, but again, I'm not talking about a first, second, third round draft choice. He went undrafted. The Ravens picked him up. Look, when they cut him, they didn't even let the darn guy get the training camp to show what he could do. And you want to know why? It's the same reason teams were turned off by Colin Kaepernick, not because of the knee, him taking the knee itself. Tim Tebow, not because of his personality in any way. These guys are a distraction, and you do not put up with a distraction unless you have to. If it's Patrick Mahomes, if it's Josh Allen, they could make any political statement they want. They could be as vulgar as they want. They can be as much of a lightning rod as they want, but you're going to put up with it. You put up with great talent who can help a team. You do not put up with marginal players. And Pavea is a distraction. When he finished run up for the Heisman, he posted something giving the finger to the voters. That is a big, big turnoff. Even in the movie.
Then why add him on? Why add him on to your roster if that's a turnoff? I don't think that was the issue. I think they wanted to see what he had because he did, like you said, he did some great things at Vanderbilt, but he wasn't talented enough. They added a center in his place, and so he added a center and dumped him off.
They added him on the Ravens. If he went to training camp and he looked incredible, and they caught lightning in the bottle, they would kick him and stick with him. But if they looked at him and they thought, okay, we project him, maybe he could be a third string quarterback for us, but it's not worth the problem. Look, same thing with Tebow. Tim Tebow was good enough to hold a roster spot somewhere. We could agree at any NFL team, he was good enough to be a third string quarterback. Come on. Yet
I don't think, not quarterback. That's why you think he switched to tight end? I think he knew. I mean, he was an athlete. He was an athlete that happened to be behind.
Third string quarterback I'm talking about. I'm not talking about starting. No, look what he did in college.
Yeah,
Listen,
that's college. You can compensate for the things that you're lacking in college if at that level. If you're talented at a lot of other things, but he wasn't.
7-4 with the Broncos starting, and he led them, and he won.
And yet they still let him go, and they still let him go. And he wasn't a distraction. He didn't have a bad attitude or anything.
Because they signed Peyton Manning and they didn't want the distraction of having Tebow around. Tebow would have been a distraction.
He wasn't good. I get it. He wasn't good. I agree with that. He is the distraction, but I would have to agree with you that his talent level at the quarterback level wasn't worth the headache with everything else that came with the baggage.
Exactly. Same thing at that point with Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick was a player who was a little bit in decline. He was no longer a starting caliber quarterback, but Kaepernick was certainly good enough to hold a backup job. Absolutely. But it wasn't worth the distraction. But had Kaepernick been the same quarterback who led his team to the Super Bowl the year before, there is no way he gets cut. That's just the reality. And I'm not judging whether I agree or disagree with anyone's actions. I'm just saying how they look at things. If you're in a powerful position, meaning you're an elite player, you can get away with things. They'll put up with you. Okay? If not, they won't. I mean, look at ESPN. I won't call him a colleague because he's way ahead of us, Stephen A. Smith, who I like. Stephen A. Smith can make the boldest statements, and he's a star. ESPN's going to put up with it. If he was a marginal personality, a marginal broadcast on ESPN, they'd move on from him. If he was like Jay Williams, for example, with the basketball, Jay Williams is good at what he does. But if Jay Williams started becoming really controversial, ESPN wouldn't feel comfortable. They'll move on from him. Stephen A can get away with it, which is fine. That's life. That's just life. I'm not criticizing any one of the executives, the players. Pavia, I'm not criticizing him. He's what he is. And you're right, James, 5'10", he's small. That works against him. But you mean to tell me he's not good enough to be on a roster, at 5'10" or whatever? And in this day and age, height is a little less important than it was in the past, only because they roll out more, use the field more, as opposed to staying in the pocket.
But you got to have a strong arm to go with that. If you're short, you better be talented with your feet and your arm. If you're a little guy, at quarterback, because look at who. But I'm all right. Let's compare apples to apples here. Let's look at this guy versus Kyler Murray or Bryce Young. Those guys are little guys, but these are two guys that want
overall draft choices. Both of them.
That's what I'm saying. That you better be extremely talented to be that small. You have to be extremely talented if you're a guy. When Russell Wilson,
he's been a bit of a lightning rod, hasn't he? But look, he's probably going to be the Vikings starter. They'll put up with Kyler Murray's background, okay, supposedly, of being a little bit on the lazy side, supposedly. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying
Fair enough.
He is.
Fair enough.
The Vikings will tolerate it. They wouldn't tolerate Pavia being on their roster as a third string guy. If Murray had that background and he was just so, Vikings wouldn't bother with him.
But that's why I'm saying that's why you have to put it in context here. It's not the attitude, that it's the lack of talent first, because they put up with guys with attitudes that have been supremely talented.
Okay, you mentioned Michael Vick. Let me give you an example today. Deshaun Watson. The only reason he has a good chance of being the starter and he's with Cleveland, because he's guaranteed a fortune of money to be one of the highest paid QBs in the NFL. If Deshaun Watson had a non-guaranteed contract, there's an excellent chance he not only wouldn't be on the Cleveland Brown roster if they could move on from him, he'd have a hard time getting a job anywhere in the NFL now because of the baggage.
Only if he was not, if he wanted to claim himself like Cam Newton to be a starter. If he's a guy that could be humble enough to say, I could take a second or third string job, somebody would take him. I guarantee you.
Sure about that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because the talent, in some GM's mind, they're going to always question about whether or not he was in the wrong place in Cleveland. And what can we do with that guy that we saw in Houston? That talent, that level of talent of a guy. Can we pull some of that back out of him?
Normally, yes. But if guy has baggage like that, whatever. But okay, no way of proving it.
Right.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me both ask you a question. Both for both of your teams. James, would you want Pavea on your team?
No.
Jack, would you want Pavea on your team?
Yeah. I'll tell you why. You look at the Jets quarterback. Geno Smith is one and done. Okay, as far as the Jets go, he can't be the quarterback beyond this year, Geno Smith. That's pretty bad that we have Geno Smith as our starter, but he can fill in the gap. This is expected to be a losing year for the Jets. The backup, Cade Klubnik, I like that. He might be the primary backup. They took a flyer taking Klubnik in the 4th round. I love that pick. If it doesn't work out, so you lose a 4th round pick, and maybe you catch lightning in the bottle. He does what he did at Clemson the year before last. Let's see. Okay. Now you got Zappy, Max guy, and who knows with Zappy. And then you get Brady Cook. No offense, Brady Cook seems like a nice guy. They interviewed his wife in the stands. His parents rooted for him. I don't want Brady Cook on my team because unless you're going to make him a coach, let him retire, make him a backup quarterback coach. I'd rather have Pavia there as one of my 4 guys without question over Brady Cook. Yeah.
Oh goodness, no,
Yeah.
no. That kid's not that good. I mean, not good at all. I mean, you want a short quarterback with
Brady Cook.
I saw what Brady Cook could do in the NFL. It's not bad. It ain't great, but it ain't bad either.
It was terrible what he did.
This kid, you want a 5'10" guy with a weak arm to come take his place.
Brady Cook has no future as a quarterback in the NFL.
Neither does Pavia.
Well, let me pose this question to you, Jack. Would you rather take away all his stuff? Would you rather have Sorsby than Pavia?
I mean, I would take a chance. No, it's about taking a chance. I'm not saying I want Pavia as my starter. No way. But
I'm talking about your fourth seeded quarterback.
No, the quarterbacks that they have basically lined up are Cook, Sappy, Klubnik, and Geno Smith. Those are the 4 guys.
But I get what B is saying. If Sorsby did not have the gambling problem, would you take him over Pavia?
Oh, I don't know. I do.
I know what Sorsby.
The gambling problem's an issue.
He's pulling one. He's doing one of your numbers. He's saying if he didn't have that.
Yeah, is Sorsby good enough to hold a roster spot somewhere?
Yeah, without a doubt.
But is he going to get the opportunity? I have doubts.
Well, I'm just for the sake of argument. That's what I'm saying, Jack. If you took Sorsby without his problems, would you take him or Pavia? That's what I'm saying. Sorsby without his problems or Pavia as a fourth seeded quarterback.
No, I'm not saying Pavia would be 4th seeded necessarily. I would take Sorsby, I think, if push came to shove, because he would have marginally more potential of winning the starting job at some point in the wide open competition. I don't think Pavia is a starting caliber NFL quarterback, but there's always a chance he could be another Baker Mayfield type. There's always that chance. And I think Pavia's good enough to hold a roster spot.
You didn't watch him. Did you watch him play in college, Jack? Did you watch any of Vanderbilt's games?
Vanderbilt games.
I'm an SEC guy, so I watch. I just think that he was a product of his environment. He had a great team. He had a great team and a great coach. That coach is good, really good there. No, I just think that they're getting it right. The team
runner up for the Heisman Trophy.
So is Gino Torretta. I mean, not run up. He won. He won the Heisman. He beat Marshall Faulk. And what are we talking about with Gino Torretta now? Nothing. Not a thing. I mean, he didn't even last at all in the NFL. I'm just saying, my point is, it doesn't matter what the Heisman is doing for you. If you're a quarterback, you better darn well be talented with your arm strength and your
I'm only talking roster spot. That's all I'm talking about. Keep that in mind. I'm not talking about a starter, an impact player. Is he good enough to hold a roster spot?
I don't think so. I just think there are a lot more talented guys that can take a second, third, and potentially fourth spot that are better than him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because you got to look at it like this too, Jack. You have one good year with a team. I like consistency in college because that's basically all you have in college before you go to the NFL. NFL and college are on two total levels, period. It's always been, it's always going to be that. No matter how much college tries to turn into the NFL, it's still going to be two levels, two different platforms. So, yeah, he had a great season, but that was one season. He won 10 games. He had a pretty good team around him. That's the reason why he won those 10 games. It wasn't him. He just flourished in that system. Now, you take him out of there, and that's why nobody drafted him. If they thought he was that fabulous, somebody would have drafted him. He could have been somebody's third or fourth quarterback in the NFL immediately. But somebody had to take a chance on him, and that's what Baltimore did. And Baltimore said, yeah, you know what? We got 4 quarterbacks on our roster too anyway, so you got to go, brother. So it's either the UFL or the CFL. Now, if he can prove something in the CFL and the UFL, then, you know, that might shut us up a little bit. But that doesn't mean he can maintain a spot in the NFL. NFL is like a third or fourth quarterbacks in the NFL do play in the UFL, and they do play in the CFL. So you got to look at that. That's why Pavea is not a great one. I knew he wasn't going to make that. I knew he was going to. Somebody's going to take a chance on, but I knew he wasn't going to stay with that roster because he's not a good quarterback. He's not. There was no good quarterbacks in this. I mean, there was no great quarterbacks in this draft. I'll put it to you like that. Fernando Mendoza was close to that because he had a Heisman. He won a national championship. He had good numbers. He played in a pretty decent Indiana team. So he got that little drop. Other quarterbacks in the draft, and Los Angeles drafted. Yeah, Ty Simpson was not a good draft pick, but at that level. So I'm just saying, it is what it is. I mean, Pavea will be successful as maybe a bag boy at Piggly Wiggly. But anyway,
did you hear that, Jack?
He'll be the CEO at Piggly Wiggly. No, I wish him luck, though. I do wish him luck. I hope that he does find a spot. If that's his passion, he wants to play football, even if it's not the NFL level. I hope it's at some level.
Again, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have his rights, so he can go there and work his way up. Or UFL, I'm pretty sure that they'd be open in the spring to having a spot for him because he's got something there. He's got some moxie, and he can throw the ball here and there. But I mean, it's once you get up to that level, cream rises to the top. And I just don't see. I think his pinnacle was where he had a good situation with Vanderbilt, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's far too many more talented guys that can take a spot.
All right, so the Dodgers championship baseball team went to the White House. I believe it was this week sometime, and the debate today is it okay for athletes on a championship team to decline an invitation to the White House? And Jack, I kind of heard what you and Keith were talking about on the show when you're on there, and you guys are kind of passionate about this. So I'm gonna go with you first because I want to hear your side of this.
Yeah, a person has a right to do what they want. If they don't want to show up, I mean, technically they're within their rights. But no, it's in terrible taste. It's an institution. The whole reason for it, it's always been a reward. It's always supposed to have been the ultimate honor for an athlete to be invited to the White House. But in this day and age, you have these certain athletes, they have this feeling of entitlement, complete entitlement that they can do, well, we don't like the policies of the person in the White House, so we're not going to go. But guess what? Okay, we're talking about LeBron James before. Hypothetically, okay, if the sitting president, and I'm not taking any views one way or another as far as who I support, who I don't support. I respect everyone. Everyone else is going to be my friend no matter who they support. I don't get caught up in this political, jumbo mumbo talk and get into these heated discussions. I mean, make it clear. But LeBron James was a big Hillary Clinton supporter when she ran against Donald Trump. Can you imagine when after that James is on a championship team and Trump decides he's inviting the whole team but not inviting LeBron James? I wouldn't expect the team to go. That would be outrageous. That would be absolutely outrageous. Okay. I would be appalled by that myself. But you have certain athletes like Megan Rapinoe, the women's soccer player, who she doesn't want to go. She doesn't like the views of the country, blah, blah, blah. So don't show up. Don't show up. I mean, there's a certain measure of respect. Even, what was it, a couple of nights ago? Former President Barack Obama goes in the dressing room of the WNBA players. Can you imagine someone saying, I don't want to meet him, get him out of here, I'm not playing, I'm leaving because he's coming in? There's a certain way to act. It's a reward for the athletes visiting the White House. It honors their achievement. That's what it's honoring. It's honoring the team's achievement. Okay? The Dodgers were honored for their achievement of being World Series champions. That's all it was. You show up. It doesn't mean you support the guy in office in any way, shape, or form. He's just doing his job. If they don't get invited, it's an insult. Imagine they don't get invited and they decide some players they don't want to show up. Well, it's their loss. They had a chance to experience going into the Oval Office, being honored as such. I mean, what am I going to do? Imagine a ball player, Pete Rose, was going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Could you imagine the other Hall of Famers saying, I'm not showing up. I'm not showing up because he's being honored, this or that. I just don't like the sense of entitlement that they have. Athletes, once again, are within their rights. If they don't want to go somewhere, don't go somewhere. But at the end, they're going to look back and they're going to see that they wound up hurting themselves because they missed out on a terrific experience that was honoring a team's achievement, their team's achievement. And it has nothing to do with the office holder there. It's the institution of the White House and the reward, the symbolic reward of honoring a championship team. So I can't support any athlete's position not showing up at the White House because they don't like the person in office or the policies or this or that.
I don't know. That's a bit of a stretch for me when you say that. I agree. You can look at it in history. It was an honor, but who was it an honor to? I mean, we didn't get the vote until 1965, Jack. And were they visiting White Houses? Were black athletes visiting White House then? I mean, or were they even allowed to?
That really wasn't a thing until Ronald Reagan made it a thing.
We're going back
exactly. No. I mean, I'm letting you know. I'm just saying there's a history here, and maybe some things are being revisioned in this particular regime that we're talking about here.
History to all the way back then, society.
No. I'm just saying some of the policies are mirroring similar things that happened then. That's
similar.
I wasn't going to try to go political here. I just say, let's just say this. If you don't like a person with some of the things they've done or haven't done, I mean, let's just say this guy comes with scrutiny. This particular president before that was in his first regime comes with scrutiny and controversy. If I'm invited to the White House and a lot of things I don't agree with you, I don't like you because of the things that you've done, am I supposed to fake it and shake your hand? Because that's what's going to happen. He's going to walk by everybody and shake their hand. Am I supposed to just fake it and shake your hand and in disgust? Or am I supposed to just stand there and put my hands in protest and not put my hands in my pocket and not shake your hand because I don't like you? What am I supposed to do there, Jack? That's not entitled. There's some things there. I'm not saying. And one thing I can say about the young people, there are some entitled people, period. Yes, the generation. But that being said, most of them aren't fake. They let you know who they are and what they want, and there is with their time and about their beliefs. And so I have to respect that. And it's hard to respect a person if you feel like the person doesn't respect you or your culture or anything else. And that's That's the problem I have, Jack, and with that is that saying something like you said was brought, like B said, was brought into a tradition in the 80s. All right. So it's not something that you should uphold all just because you like sports and because you think it's an honor of the White House. I mean, look, we can talk about the history of the White House, period. It's just a lot of things, but don't get me wrong. We had a black president, but there's a lot of things here that are swept under the rug that nobody talks about. And it's just like, okay, I don't want, maybe I respect you from a distance and just leave it at that. I don't have to come see you because you're inviting me to the White House when it's in reality, you may not even like me. You're respecting the team as an overall thing. But I mean, as an individual, it's hard for me to be fake and say that I want to shake your hand and smile in front of the camera to say that I respect you.
You agree with this, James? Sorry for cutting in. If somebody elects to go to the White House, a player, they should not be criticized for going. If someone doesn't want to go, they're within their rights, as I said, not to go. I think they should, because I think they wind up hurting themselves in the long run, not experiencing what they should. But if someone wants to go, no one should criticize them for going. I mean, you should not criticize a teammate. And a team shouldn't vote. Yeah.
My thing is, Jack.
That's not the debate question. The debate question is: it okay for athletes on a championship to decline an invitation to the White House? That's the question.
You're a team. You go as a team there, or you.
Jack, to me, if you don't go there and you pick a reason because you don't like the president, let's just say that, to me, this is something that the people fight for in wars. And they will say it, your right to protest. It's a part of the First Amendment right here. The person is virtually protesting the invite, and they don't want to go see this person because of what's for, like you said, beliefs and not beliefs, but ideology and practices in the administration right now. They don't like that. I have to respect that.
That's fine. I respect that as well, not liking policies and all that. And I'm not condemning anyone for that, but it works both ways, and it should with these entitled athletes. Whoever holds the office, whoever it might be in the future, might decide, okay, one baseball team isn't showing up during the time I'm in office. No Major League Baseball team is going to be invited to the White House. There would be outrage over that. But it works both ways, okay? But these entitled athletes have tunnel vision that it only works their way. My thing is, if your teammate wants to go, do not criticize them in the slightest. Like Jackson Dart gave a speech the other day. A couple of months ago. And his teammate, is criticizing him like, what are we doing? I mean, I'm sick of stuff like that. Quite honestly, athletes who don't want to go to the White House are entitled not to go. I'm not mad. I'm not upset with them. Like I said, I think they're hurting themselves in the long run because it's a fantastic experience. And it doesn't, because the person who's the office holder, you could have a feeling of total contempt for that person. But who are you hurting by not going? You're hurting yourself in the long run.
And ultimately, this is why I think athletes should play no role, because you're a part of entertainment. You should play no role in politics. Don't do it. And I think. And I used to think that was wrong to think like that, but you have to divide the two. Just like church and state, you really need to divide the two. You have to divide what's entertainment and you have to divide what's politics. And the thing with Jackson Dart, I think that was a political move by his support of Donald Trump. And it invoked the other player to say something because of the disagreement in the ideology.
Smartest players, Michael Jordan, a buddy of mine, years ago said, I don't like MJ because he never takes positions on anything. Well, if he took a position, no matter what it is, half the people are going to be mad at him. If he took the other position, the other half are going to be mad at him. Don't take any positions.
Absolutely. That's what we should agree on.
It's only going to be a massive headache for you. I said MJ did it the exact right way that I feel.
What?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure question out. He was in freedom of speech because they shouldn't criticize him for going. I mean,
You can
you can
criticize
criticize.
him.
First of all, let's do this. Let's do this. How about just don't
Right.
invite any teams to the White House? Because as soon as that,
I'm fair with it. I'm fair with it.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because I'm gonna tell you something. It is political. As soon as you get invited to the White House, that's political because
It's
you're
made
a political.
but
It's not made political, Jack. Because if
tradition.
you are getting invited by a political entity, which is a Republican or
Oh,
a
let me
Democrat,
ask James
regardless
this.
what it is.
Wait,
Go ahead.
James. Let's say Obama was the president and yours truly was a great athlete, but I didn't like his policies, and I'm entitled not to like
And
his
that happened.
policies, and I didn't go to the White House. I was one of the few players, and I was a star player. I would be called a racist. I would. Let's be honest about it.
You're asking me. The 18-year-old me would have said yes. What are you doing? Why are you not going to the White House? The 51-year-old me that's lived life and understands a lot greater, you have your right to do that. I would not have a problem with that. Yes, that's a total different thing. Yes.
But the perception is what I'm saying. I respect the people who don't like policies of sitting office holders. I respect that completely, okay? And I'm not arguing that position. I'm just feeling, what a great cultural experience it is to visit the White House, and it's a reward for achievement and not to go. It's like, but whatever. Listen, it doesn't harm me in that sense. They don't want to go, they don't go, and let's see what happens with the next. They haven't been invited yet, have they?
Let me give you this, Jack. Let me give you
They have
this.
been invited, and the owner has accepted the invitation, but Jalen Brunson said he has to talk that over with his teammates first.
Jack, I'm gonna give you this, and I'm just in closing.
I'm sorry.
Let me say this in closing from my part. You can look at it. Let's just say, okay, Republican versus Democrat. I don't think there was a problem with Bush. I don't think there was a problem with the previous Bush. I don't think there was a problem with any other Republican. I think the one that we're talking about now, there's a problem. There's a distinct difference between those guys and their beliefs and how they handle situations. Because you didn't agree with everything what everybody said. This one now has an extreme difference, more tyrannical. And I think a lot of people don't like that. And a lot of people, this is why they're protesting. It has nothing to do. That's the obvious part. Yes.
Yeah.
Because all the teams, I've never heard of a team not going to anybody back in the day, to any president. They went. They went and they shook the hands of the president without problems.
The Utah team that won in 2017 and 18 didn't go to Obama because the dean or whoever was the university president didn't like Obama's policy, so they didn't go. So it goes on with every president. Not every president has that invited a championship team, no matter what they were, college or.
It's worse here though. It's worse than this one. It's worse than this one.
Yeah, I get that, but it's not it hasn't happened. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
So
okay, fair enough.
We're all Americans. We have that choice. Me and you, James, fought for that choice. So you got to look at it like that, and that's how I look at it as a person that served in the military. You were allowed to do what you got to do because you're an American. We fought for your right to do that. That's the problem I have with people who are thinking. I'm sorry. That's the problem I have with people who are thinking, and it's a problem because it's a constitutional right. That's the thing you fight and want to have and discuss that. You can't have it two ways. You got to look at it in its totality. It's for everyone. Every single. I mean that even though the Declaration of Independence was not meant for Black people back in the day, it is now. It's meant for anybody. These truths hold true. I how it goes. I'm not going to paraphrase it, but exactly how it goes. It's everybody has that freedom in this country. So yeah, I mean it is what it is. I don't have a problem with it. Whether you agree with it or not, that's one thing. But to respect it is a whole nother thing. And again, it's your right to agree or disagree with it. But I don't think exactly. I don't think it's an honor necessarily to be invited to the White House as a championship team. The honor for the team is to parade yourself through the city after you won. That's the honor I look at. I don't want to look at an honor going to the White House. Okay, well, if you want to go see the Oval Office, book a tour. I mean, I don't need to be shaking anybody, because that's what you're actually doing. You're going to the White House to see a free tour of the Oval Office, where you'd have to pay for a tour to go to office. And you're shaking the president's hand, no matter who it is. So if you don't agree with that president, why? So, I mean, I look at it from both sides. It is who it is. Whatever. You want to go, go. If you don't want to go, don't go.
Well, the only thing I know for sure, we're never going to be invited, the three of us. So,
we definitely ain't going to be invited, Jack.
I'm staying home. I'm not bothering. You two can go. You and James. Okay.
Hey, I will be at home with you, Jack. That's hey.
My eyes be closed, sir.
Yeah.
Good.
What?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's going to bring us to
tomorrow
conclusion
morning.
to our show. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8.
Great show
for the Sunday morning podcast and sports podcast. And everybody have a great rest of your day. Till next time.